The Orion expanse was not like other parts of space. It was not simply empty darkness with stars scattered far away. It was a region that carried weight, history, and deep fear among many civilizations. They called it the Forbidden Zone. Old tales described strange lights, vanishing fleets, and ships that entered but never came back. Even the bravest captains would not travel near it unless forced. For thousands of years, alien records repeated the same warning: the zone swallows all. That was why the sudden signal shocked the universe. It started as a faint energy wave picked up by a patrol vessel belonging to the Zerani Union, a reptilian species known for their careful nature. The patrol crew thought it was a sensor error. Their scanners had always shown nothing inside the Forbidden Zone except unstable radiation. But this signal was different. It was structured, repeating almost like a distress beacon. "Impossible," hissed Captain Relkar, his green eyes wide as the signal grew stronger. "No ship can exist in there." The crew worked quickly, their clawed hands tapping glowing consoles. Soon the screen showed a clear reading. A vessel was drifting within the zone. It was moving slowly as though without power, and it was not Zerani. Not Cathari, not Virn, not any of the great galactic powers. It was human. The Zerani captain froze, not sure whether to laugh or tremble. Humans were newcomers in the galactic stage. They had only joined interstellar travel less than a century ago. Their ships were simple, their technology young compared to the great empires. And yet there it was, one of their starships calmly floating in the most forbidden place in the galaxy. The patrol immediately sent the data to the Union's High Council. Within hours, other civilizations knew of the discovery. By the next galactic cycle, every major species had heard the news. The galaxy whispered the same question: how did a human ship enter the Forbidden Zone? The Galactic Assembly Hall stood at the center of a neutral system, where representatives of many species gathered to discuss great matters. When word spread about the human ship, the hall filled faster than it had in centuries. Holographic projections showed the image of the drifting vessel. It was scarred, pieces of its hull broken, but its shape was clear. The humans called it the Odyssey. "The records confirm it," spoke Councillor Vaynar of the Cathari Dominion, his voice deep and echoing. "This is no trick. A human vessel has appeared where no other can survive." Murmurs filled the hall. The Vern delegates, with their insect-like mandibles, clicked in alarm. The tall, glowing Aethari whispered among themselves, their light dimming in unease. Finally, the Zerani captain who had discovered the ship stood forward. "The Odyssey is not broadcasting any threat. Its systems appear damaged, yet it has not been consumed by the zone. Our patrols dared not go further, but scans are clear. It is real." The assembly fell silent. No species had ever crossed into the Forbidden Zone and returned. Many had tried in the past, sending fleets with the strongest shields and fastest drives. None came back. But here was a fragile human ship drifting, wounded but alive. "How is this possible?" demanded a Virn commander. "The zone destroys even our best warships. Humans should not have the knowledge nor the strength to even enter." Some aliens suggested deception. Perhaps humans had secretly created new technology. Others thought it was luck. A few even whispered that the zone itself had chosen them. But no matter the theory, all eyes turned toward humanity. On Earth, the news reached the Terran Council with great shock. Humanity had sent no mission into the Forbidden Zone. Their exploration fleet stayed far away from it, just like everyone else. The appearance of the Odyssey confused even human leaders. Families of the crew demanded answers. Scientists argued it was impossible, yet the ship was there. Ambassador Eleanor Rhodes, Earth's representative to the Galactic Assembly, faced heavy pressure. She had to answer for something her people did not understand. "We did not send the Odyssey into the Forbidden Zone," she explained again and again. "We have no means to reach it. We do not know how it arrived there." But the aliens did not believe so easily. To them, humans had always been strange. Unlike other species, humans adapted quickly, surviving in harsh colonies, fighting through disasters, and building faster than expected. Now, with this mystery, aliens wondered if humanity's luck was more than chance. Far away, the Odyssey drifted in silence. Its hull bore the marks of a violent journey: scorch marks, melted plating, and broken antennae. Inside, life signs flickered faintly. The crew was alive, but their systems were weak. They were trapped inside the most dangerous space in the galaxy. Yet somehow they had not perished. Alien scientists studied the scans endlessly. The zone's energy storms lashed out at anything near it, twisting matter, bending space. But around the Odyssey there was calm. The ship floated as if protected by something unseen. To the Council, this was alarming. If humans had found a way to tame the zone, they might hold a power no other species could claim. To others, it was exciting. Perhaps the secret of the zone could finally be solved through humans. But to most, it was terrifying. Captain Relkar of the Zerani Union, the one who first spotted the ship, sent another message to his council. "We stand on the edge of something dangerous," he warned. "If humans did not do this themselves, then something else has chosen them. Either way, it changes everything." His words were carried across the stars, repeated in private chambers, whispered in marketplaces, and debated in academies. Everywhere the question remained, how did a human ship appear in the Forbidden Zone? And perhaps more importantly, why was it still alive? The galaxy held its breath, because mysteries like this never came without consequence. The galaxy was restless. The sudden appearance of the human ship Odyssey inside the Forbidden Zone had shaken the balance of power. What should have been impossible was now reality. Every species wanted answers, but answers were few. The mystery spread across star networks faster than any fleet could travel. The Galactic Assembly Hall prepared for a full council session. The vast chamber glowed with starlight from the great window that looked out into space. Floating platforms held the delegates of dozens of civilizations. Their shapes were as different as their worlds, scaled, feathered, glowing, armored, or delicate. Yet for once they shared the same expression, deep unease. The Zerani Union had called the meeting, and their representative, High Speaker Tolar, opened with a voice both sharp and calm. "Honored Council, a human ship rests within the Forbidden Zone. The fact alone demands our attention. We must decide, is this a danger, a discovery, or something far worse?" The Cathari Dominion spoke first. Their ambassador, Lord Vaynar, towered above most, his heavy form clad in silver armor. His people were known for strength and pride. "This is a trick," he declared. "Humans are young. They should not have the ability to enter where our most powerful fleets have failed. Clearly they hide technology and now test it against us." At once, several delegates argued. The slender Etheri representative, Lady Elira, shook her glowing head. "No, humans could not hide such technology. Their colonies are still fragile, their science still climbing. If they had a method to cross the zone, they would not risk one small vessel. This cannot be strategy. It is something else." The insectoid Vern chittered from their platform. Commander Relak tapped his sharp claws on the metal. "Then it is luck, as always with them. Humans stumble where others fall. They endure where others break. But luck cannot last forever." These words stirred the council. Many races had seen humans before, fragile, small, yet strange. They survived on worlds where no other species dared live. They fought disasters and still rebuilt. Some called it stubbornness, others called it madness. But all agreed, humans were hard to erase. Ambassador Eleanor Rhodes stood on the human platform, calm but firm. Her presence was small compared to the larger, brighter aliens, yet her voice carried clearly. "Council members, I tell you once more, Earth did not send the Odyssey into the Forbidden Zone. We lack the technology. We lack the reason. We do not know how our ship is there." "Convenient words," Lord Vaynar said coldly. Eleanor did not raise her voice. "They are also the truth. If we had such power, do you believe we would keep it secret? Do you believe we would risk our own citizens for nothing?" Some delegates nodded slightly. Others remained silent. The Athari lady spoke again, her soft glow bright. "Perhaps the truth is larger than all of us. Perhaps the zone itself chose them. We must consider that the universe does not treat all races the same." Her words drew whispers across the hall. Many disliked the idea. The universe, they believed, followed order, science, and logic. The suggestion that humans had been chosen unsettled them deeply. The council then reviewed the patrol scans. Holograms showed the Odyssey scarred but unharmed. Energy waves struck alien drones, tearing them apart, while the human ship remained untouched. "This is clear proof," Speaker Tolar said. "Something protects the vessel. Whether technology, accident, or design, it must be studied. The question before us, who will approach it?" Silence followed. The Forbidden Zone was death to most ships. Few volunteered to send their people into such danger. Commander Relak of the Virn finally spoke. "We should destroy it. End this mystery before it spreads. The zone is cursed. If the humans carry some secret, better it is lost than unleashed. Ambassador Eleanor's eyes narrowed. You would kill innocent crew members? Men and women who are trapped? Is that your idea of justice? Rylak's mandibles clicked. Better a few die than whole empires fall. Her reply was steady. Better we seek truth than hide from it. The debate grew fierce. Some sided with Eleanor, arguing that the crew must be rescued and that studying them could reveal the zone's secrets. Others feared the risk, believing humans might gain unfair power. Hours passed. The assembly split into factions. The pragmatists believed the human ship should be destroyed for safety. The seekers wanted to recover the ship and study it carefully. The watchers argued for waiting, believing the ship would reveal its own secret in time. In the end, no side won fully. The council compromised. A fleet would be sent to the edge of the zone. Their mission: observe, and if possible, investigate the Odyssey. But they would not attack unless threatened. It was a fragile decision, but it prevented war between the factions. When the council session ended, Eleanor Rhodes walked alone down the long hall. Her aide, a young officer named Daniel Hayes, hurried beside her. Ambassador, Daniel whispered, they don't trust us. Some of them truly believe we built a secret way into the zone. Eleanor nodded slowly. Yes, fear makes enemies quickly. But remember this, fear also hides curiosity. They may not trust us, but they cannot ignore us. Whatever is happening, humans are now at the center of it. Daniel hesitated. Do you think our people on the Odyssey are alive? Eleanor looked out at the stars beyond the great window. Her voice was quiet but firm. I believe they are. And if they are alive, then they have seen something none of us can yet imagine. Meanwhile, in hidden chambers across the galaxy, other powers moved in secret. The Cathari Dominion prepared spies to watch human colonies more closely. The Vern commanders trained their fleets, ready to strike if humans grew too bold. The Ethari scholars began searching ancient records, looking for any hint that humans had been touched by forces older than memory. Even the Zerani Union, cautious and careful, sent quiet scouts to study human history. Everywhere, one thought echoed, perhaps humans are more than they seem. Back in the Forbidden Zone, the Odyssey floated in silence. Its crew remained unconscious, caught between life and death. The ship's broken systems flickered weakly. Strange currents of energy swirled around it, forming patterns that no alien mind could read. And deep inside the ship, a single light blinked steadily, a human heartbeat monitor. Slow, faint, but alive. The galaxy did not yet know it, but the real story was only beginning. The Forbidden Zone had always been a graveyard. Broken fleets, shattered stations, even fragments of moons floated inside its storms of energy. Alien explorers had given it many names over the centuries: the Maw, the Silent Storm, the Veil. Yet to every race, it remained the same, a mystery that punished curiosity with death. Now, for the first time, a living ship floated within it. The Galactic Council had reached a fragile agreement. They would not destroy the human vessel Odyssey, not yet. Instead, a joint fleet would be sent to investigate. No empire wanted to risk its own people alone, so they shared the burden. 10 ships, each from a different race, gathered at the border of the zone. Their mission: approach carefully, learn what they could, and decide whether humans had uncovered something dangerous or miraculous. Among the fleet was the Zerani cruiser Shield of Dawn, commanded by Captain Relkar, the very officer who had first discovered the signal. He was not pleased to return. His scales twitched with unease as his ship drew closer to the border storms. Beside him, his second officer whispered, Captain, perhaps the humans have a hidden device. Perhaps this is no accident. Relkar's eyes narrowed. Perhaps. But I have seen their ship. It bleeds metal like a wounded beast. No hidden power looks so broken. On another vessel, the Ethari scholar Elira prepared her instruments. Her glowing form pulsed with curiosity rather than fear. She believed the zone was more than a storm. To her it was alive, or at least aware. And if the humans were inside, perhaps it had chosen them for a reason. The Cathari warship Iron Talon carried Lord Vanar himself. He did not believe in mysteries. He believed in strength. To him, this mission was foolish. If the humans had found a secret, then the only solution was to take it from them. or crush them before they grew too bold. As the fleet advanced, the zone grew brighter. Waves of energy rose like storms across a sea, curling in patterns that bent light and space. Ships shuddered as shields strained to resist. The first probe was launched, a small drone sent ahead with scanners. It lasted less than a minute. Energy ripped through its hull, twisting metal into smoke before its signal vanished. "Same as always," muttered Relkar. "Nothing survives in there." Yet still the Odyssey floated, calm at the center of chaos. Finally, the fleet reached the very edge of the zone. The storms cracked around them, shaking their hulls. Shields flickered red on half the vessels. Beyond the distortion, the human ship was visible, a broken silhouette drifting like a ghost. The Council had ordered caution, but curiosity was stronger. Boarding teams were formed. Small craft prepared to cross the storm and attempt contact. The first attempt failed. A shuttle from the Verne fleet entered the zone and was shredded in seconds. The crew barely escaped in emergency pods, shaken and silent. The second attempt came from the Etheri, using a vessel wrapped in light-woven shielding. It lasted longer, weaving through the energy like a dancer through fire. Against all odds, it reached the Odyssey and latched onto its hull. "Contact achieved," Elira announced, her glowing form brightening. "We are boarding now." The fleet held its breath as her team entered the human ship. Inside the Odyssey, silence reigned. The corridors were dark, filled with smoke and broken panels. Gravity flickered on and off. The boarding team moved carefully, their lights cutting through the shadows. Then they found them, the human crew. Men and women lay scattered across the ship, unconscious but alive. Their suits were damaged, their faces pale, yet their hearts still beat. "Impossible," whispered one Ethari. "They should not have survived this long." The humans were quickly placed into stasis pods for safety. Yet the real surprise came when they reached the control room. The ship's systems were simple, too simple. Navigation logs showed no advanced technology, no secret shield generator, no hidden weapon. The records told a strange story. The ship had been exploring near a small nebula when a sudden distortion pulled them into the zone. After that, the logs became chaos, strange readings, symbols no one could interpret, and finally silence. To Elira, the answer was clear. This was not human design. The zone brought them here. But to Lord Vanar, watching from his warship, the conclusion was different. They hide the truth. The evidence is false. Humans know more than they admit. When word spread through the fleet, debate broke out at once. Some argued that the humans were victims, dragged into the zone by forces beyond their control. Others claimed it was too neat, too convenient, proof of deception. But the greatest shock came not from the logs, but from the humans themselves. Hours after being placed in stasis, one of the crew awakened. His name was Lieutenant Marcus Hale. His eyes opened slowly, confused, then wide with fear. "Where are we?" he whispered. "The voices. Are they gone?" The Etheri scholars leaned closer. "What voices?" Marcus trembled. "The ones that guided us. Through the storms. Through the fire. They showed us the path. Without them, we would be dead." The aliens froze. No species had ever claimed such a thing. The zone never spoke, never guided, never spared anyone. Yet this human insisted otherwise. What did they say? Elira asked softly. Marcus closed his eyes. "Not in words. In feelings. In visions. They showed us the way like the zone itself wanted us to live." When the fleet transmitted this report back to the Council, uproar followed. Some refused to believe it. Others whispered that humans had always been different. Too stubborn, too adaptable, too strange. Now perhaps they were also chosen. The Cathari demanded the humans be contained and interrogated. The Etheri argued for protection and study. The Verne still wanted the ship destroyed. And humanity, small and young among the stars, suddenly found itself at the center of a storm greater than the zone itself. The storm of fear, wonder and suspicion now spreading across the galaxy. Back aboard the Shield of Dawn, Captain Relkar looked at the distant human ship through his view screen. "Why them?" he muttered to himself. "Why not us? Why not anyone else?" His second officer, quiet until then, answered softly. "Perhaps because they are human. Perhaps because they see what we cannot." Relkar said nothing. But deep in his mind, a dangerous thought grew. If the zone trusted humans, what would that mean for the future of the galaxy? Far from the fleet, the zone shifted. Its storms darkened and strange lights pulsed around the Odyssey. For a moment it almost looked as though the zone itself was alive, watching, waiting, and preparing for what was to come. The investigation had begun, but the real mystery was only deepening. The council chambers were silent when the report from the investigation fleet arrived. All eyes were on the holographic projection of the human ship Odyssey, still drifting within the forbidden zone. The images flickered as energy storms surrounded it, yet the ship itself remained calm. Nothing had harmed it. No technology, no weapon, no shield from any known species could have achieved such a thing. And yet, humans had survived. Ambassador Eleanor Rhodes stood at the podium, her voice steady as she relayed the words of Lieutenant Marcus Hale and the other crew members who had been awakened. The human crew reports that they were guided through the zone, not by machines, not by logic, not by calculations, but by visions, by sensations, by something that feels alive. The council erupted in disbelief. Representatives shouted over one another, some arguing it was a lie, some calling it a miracle. The Vern commander, Rylak, hissed through his mandibles. "This is impossible. The zone has no mind. It cannot guide anyone. They are deceiving us. They must be destroyed." Elira, the Ithari scholar, floated forward, her glow steady and calm. "Perhaps it is not deception. Perhaps humans are capable of perceiving what we cannot. The zone may be responsive. Humans may be the only species that can interact with it." The room went silent at her words. To consider that one species could interact with the universe in ways no other could was unsettling and exhilarating. Meanwhile, the human crew aboard the Odyssey began to regain strength. They were weak, but their minds were alert. Marcus Hale, along with Commander Lyra Chen and a few others, recounted the strange experiences they had in the zone. "The storm wasn't random," Marcus explained. "It spoke to us. It gave us patterns. It showed us where to go and what to avoid. I don't understand it fully, but somehow it wanted us to survive." Lyra added, "It felt like the zone was alive, but not hostile. It tested us, but also protected us. We followed its guidance." The alien boarding teams exchanged uneasy glances. Not one of them could comprehend what the humans were describing. No other species had ever survived the zone, and certainly none had claimed to receive guidance from it. The Vern crew muttered among themselves, unwilling to accept the story. But even they could not deny that the human ship had endured. In the council chambers, debates raged for hours. Lord Vaynar of the Cathari Dominion demanded a full interrogation of the humans, insisting that they must reveal any hidden technology or secret. This cannot be mere luck. They must know more. If they are allowed to return home with this knowledge, the balance of power will shift. Eleanor Rhodes refused. "There is no hidden technology. The humans did not design this. They were chosen by forces greater than any empire. To force them now would be cruelty, and it would anger the zone. We must respect what they have survived." The Ithari scholars argued in her favor, insisting that the zone itself was an ancient entity, responding only to humans. "It does not act for conquest," Elira said. "It acts for something else, perhaps to test, perhaps to preserve, perhaps to guide. But humans are the only ones who can perceive this guidance." Whispers spread throughout the council. Many could not comprehend it, but a sense of awe grew. For the first time, a species considered weak, primitive, and young in the galactic stage was regarded as something extraordinary. As the debates continued, small teams of alien scientists returned to the Odyssey to study the ship itself. They found the systems intact but untouched by advanced technology. The ship's engines were standard, the navigation circuit simple. There were no hidden warp drives, no secret shields, no energy sources capable of withstanding the zone's fury. The only thing that had carried the humans through was themselves. Captain Relkar of the Zerani Union observed quietly from his bridge. "They survived where our fleets could not," he murmured. "They were guided by something we cannot even measure. This changes everything." Even he could not deny the evidence. The humans had endured storms that destroyed entire fleets. They had survived for days in a place where space itself tore ships apart. And yet, they were alive, alert, and willing to explain what had happened. Meanwhile, the human crew began to awaken fully. Marcus Hale and Lyra Chen were the first to leave the stasis pods. They walked through the corridors of the ship slowly, taking in the damage, repairing what they could with minimal tools, and recounting their experience to the alien scientists. Every moment in the zone was a test, Marcus explained. We were shown paths. We were warned when danger was ahead. And sometimes, we were helped. Not by hands, not by machines, but by something larger. Something alive, Lyra added. It wasn't just guidance. It was understanding. The zone seemed to recognize that we were humans, that we would endure, that we could adapt, that we belonged there, at least for a time. The alien teams listened in astonishment. No species could survive the zone. And now humans claimed not only survival but a connection. Back at the council, the revelation had begun to shift perspectives. Many species were still wary, fearful that humans were unpredictable. Others were fascinated, wondering what the connection could mean. The Athari proposed a bold theory. Humans are special. Perhaps the zone recognizes qualities that others cannot possess: resilience, courage, adaptability, and creativity. Perhaps this is why the humans survived where no other species could. They are the key to understanding the ancient forces of the galaxy. Lord Vaynor disagreed vehemently, but even he could not fully explain the survival of the humans. Special or not, they must be monitored. We cannot allow such power to go unchecked. Eleanor Rhodes simply nodded. We agree. But first we must listen. Humans are not a threat, they are the unexpected. The Council slowly began to understand. For centuries, the galaxy had measured strength by fleets, weapons, and shields. Now, a species with none of those advantages had survived what no one else could. Survival alone became proof of extraordinary ability. While the Council deliberated, the Odyssey itself seemed to respond. Strange energy pulses, barely visible, radiated from the ship. Sensors recorded subtle shifts in the zone storms whenever humans were awake and alert. The alien scientists were baffled. The zone was changing, not violently but subtly in response to the humans. It was almost as if the storm itself was curious. Captain Relkar stared at the readouts. It's alive. It reacts to them. It listens, the statement hung in the air. The very concept was terrifying and fascinating. A storm in space, a place of death and mystery, responding to humans and only humans. As the humans recovered, they began to share more of their experiences. Marcus described visions of star systems collapsing, ancient ruins floating in darkness, and streams of light forming paths that no computer could calculate. Lyra spoke of voices, soft, patient, guiding them through dangers that should have been fatal. Every alien who listened felt a strange sense of awe. No one had ever encountered such stories. No species could endure the zone without destruction. And now humans had not only endured but emerged with understanding. For the first time, humanity was no longer seen as weak. No longer as insignificant. No longer as newcomers. Humans were different, exceptional, unique. The council session ended, but the revelation continued to ripple across the galaxy. News spread quickly. Humans had survived the Forbidden Zone. They had been guided by something unknown. The zone, long feared as a place of death, had chosen them. Ambassador Eleanor Rhodes spoke to reporters. Humanity has survived what no other species could. We do not yet understand how or why, but we know this. Humans endure. Humans adapt. And sometimes humans are chosen by forces greater than we can imagine. Her words echoed across star systems. For the first time, many species reconsidered their view of humans. What was once thought weak, small, or unimportant was now respected and feared for its resilience and potential. Deep in the Forbidden Zone, the Odyssey floated silently. Its crew, now fully awake, gazed out at the swirling energy storms. They did not yet fully understand what had guided them, but they knew one truth. Humans had survived the impossible. And in the vastness of space, sometimes survival alone was enough to make a species extraordinary. The Forbidden Zone was no longer just a place of fear. It was changing. Energy storms roared louder than before, twisting space in ways that even the most advanced sensors struggled to interpret. Ships of the combined alien fleet shuddered as waves of unstable energy surged toward them. Shields at maximum, Captain Relkar commanded aboard the Zerani cruiser Shield of Dawn. But they won't hold forever. The zone, it's unstable. The Council's observation teams watched in growing alarm. The humans aboard the Odyssey were calm, moving through their ship with careful precision. Marcus Hale, Commander Lyra Chen, and the rest of the crew had recovered fully. Despite the chaos around them, they showed no panic, only determination. Something was happening in the zone, and the humans were at the center of it. "Captain," Lyra said as she examined the ship's instruments, "the zone is reacting to our presence. It's responding to us, guiding energy flows that we don't yet understand. If we don't act, the storms may expand, reaching nearby star systems." Relkar swallowed hard. "You're saying you can control it?" Lyra shook her head. "Not exactly control, but we can influence it carefully. The zone listens, but it does not obey. If we make a mistake, it could destroy us and everyone near it." The alien scientists monitoring her work were astonished. No species had ever influenced the zone without dying. Yet here were humans, calmly adjusting energy patterns, reading fluctuations that no sensor could detect, and navigating them with skill and intuition. Meanwhile, the council debated what action to take. Lord Vanar of the Cathari Dominion argued fiercely, "This is too dangerous. Humans cannot be trusted. If they fail, countless systems will be destroyed. We must intervene." Alira, glowing softly, countered, "Intervening without understanding could make things worse. The humans survived the impossible for a reason. They are not just passengers, they are the key to stabilizing the zone." Relak of the Vern hissed in frustration. "Do you trust them? They are small, weak, and untested. They should be removed before catastrophe comes." Eleanor Rhodes raised her hand. "Listen to reason. The humans are already engaged. Interference could provoke disaster. They are the only ones capable of managing this now. We must watch and learn." The council grudgingly agreed. All fleets maintained distance, observing but not acting. On the Odyssey, the human crew worked in perfect coordination. Marcus and Lyra guided energy channels through the ship, directing them into unstable zones of the storm. The corridors hummed with activity as crew members adjusted conduits, rerouted power, and repaired critical systems. Outside, sensors recorded a breathtaking phenomenon. The zone's energy waves bent and curved around the Odyssey, forming patterns of light that seemed almost alive. Aliens watching from afar gasped. No one had ever seen such beauty from a place of death. "This is impossible," muttered a Cathari technician. "They're not controlling it. They're communicating with it." "Yes," Alira said softly, "and it responds to them." As the humans moved deeper into the zone, the storms intensified. Waves of raw energy threatened to tear the ship apart. But Marcus remembered the visions from their first encounter. He guided the crew, trusting instincts they could not explain. "Follow the patterns," he ordered. "The zone is speaking. Listen carefully." Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the ship adjusted. Energy flows calmed in certain sectors, spiraling in harmony with the humans' guidance. The dangerous surges that had threatened alien fleets began to stabilize. Even the aliens could not deny it. Humans were saving them all. Hours passed like minutes. The human crew worked tirelessly, never faltering despite exhaustion. Alien teams aboard observed in awe. The Odyssey, once seen as fragile, now seemed unstoppable. Every calculation, every adjustment made by the humans worked perfectly. At last, the critical moment arrived. A massive surge of energy rose from the heart of the zone, threatening to engulf everything. Marcus and Lyra stood together at the main control panel. "This is it," Marcus said. "If we fail now, the storm will spread beyond the zone." Lyra nodded. "We won't fail. Trust the zone and ourselves." Together, they initiated a series of precise maneuvers, directing energy through conduits, focusing power where it was needed, and reading the storm as if it were a living map. Outside, the storm responded. Waves that had raged uncontrollably bent into spirals, then flowed calmly. Energy arcs that could have destroyed fleets dissipated into harmless streams. The dangerous heart of the zone became stable, glowing softly. For the first time in history, the Forbidden Zone was not a place of death. The alien fleets monitored in stunned silence. Every species recognized the truth. Humans had not only survived the impossible, they had mastered it in a way that no other civilization could. Captain Relkar's voice was low, almost reverent. "They've done it, humans. They've done it." Alira's glow intensified. "They are more than resilient. They are uniquely capable. The zone itself has acknowledged them. No other race has ever achieved this." Lord Vanar, usually rigid and proud, could not deny the evidence. The Cathari had underestimated humans, as had almost every species in the galaxy. Once the zone stabilized, The Odyssey slowly began its return toward normal space. The alien fleets kept a careful escort, but no one interfered. The human ship moved confidently, guided by the very instincts that had carried it through the storm. When the ship emerged from the Forbidden Zone, silence fell across the council chambers. The crew was alive, unharmed, and triumphant. The impossible had been accomplished. Eleanor Rhodes stepped forward, her voice calm but proud. These humans have shown what we always believed. Survival is not only about technology or power or strength. It is about courage, adaptability, and unity. They are proof that even in the most dangerous circumstances, humanity can endure and even thrive. The council erupted in applause, some hesitant, some awed. For centuries, humans had been underestimated. For centuries, other civilizations had laughed at their small fleets and simple technology. Now they had demonstrated abilities no one else could match. Back on the Odyssey, Marcus and Lyra looked at each other, exhausted but relieved. The ship had survived, and so had they. "Do you think they'll ever understand?" Lyra asked quietly, referring to the aliens watching their every move. Marcus shrugged. "They'll try, but some things, some experiences, can't be explained. We just survive, and sometimes that's enough." The crew shared quiet smiles. For the first time, the galaxy recognized that humans were special, not because they had weapons or shields, but because they endured where no one else could. The council quickly realized a larger truth. Humanity could no longer be ignored. They were not merely survivors, they were a force of nature. Other species would have to adjust, to respect the unpredictability, creativity, and resilience that humans brought to the galaxy. Lyra floated beside Eleanor Rhodes after the council adjourned. "They are extraordinary," she whispered. "Yes," Eleanor replied. "And this is only the beginning. The galaxy will never see humans the same way again." Outside, the stars sparkled as if in agreement. Somewhere deep within the Forbidden Zone, strange currents shifted, settling into calm. The zone had spoken. It had guided. And it had acknowledged humans. For the first time in history, the galaxy understood a simple truth. Survival alone was power. Adaptability alone was strength. And humans, small, stubborn, and unassuming, had proven that they could face the impossible and prevail. The Odyssey moved steadily toward the open space lanes, carrying not just its crew, but the knowledge that humanity had stepped fully into a larger, wider, and more dangerous universe and had emerged victorious. The galaxy had witnessed the turning point. Humans had arrived,